Gypsum Woodfibre boards, GWFB, are manufactured at the Pechelant Gypsum plant, eco-friendly product that combines the best properties of gypsum and wood. No hazardous substances are used in the manufacture of boards. In the course of operation, the GWFBs are absolutely innocuous. The GWFB consists of 83% gypsum, 15% wood chips, and 2% residual moisture. Wall cladding with gypsum woodfibre boards. The internal facing of the premises with gypsum woodfibre boards is carried out according to a pre-mounted wooden or metal frame. Necessary materials. Gypsum woodfibre boards, bottom channel PN28 by 27, stud PP60 by 27, self-tapping piercing screw, straight suspension, single level connector, dowel nail, double helical self-counterboring point screw, self-adhesive mash tape, self-tapping wood screw, self-adhesive sealing tape, mixture of dry putty, heat and sound insulation board, primer. Installation begins with the marking of the design position of the cladding. Marking can be done using a laser level. The position of the design cladding is marked on the floor, ceiling, and walls. It is recommended to mark on the floor the location of the siding. The pitch of the stud is 625 millimeters. The bottom channels of the required size are cut off with metal cutting scissors. Sealing tape is glued on the siding. In accordance with the marking, the bottom channels are fixed to the floor and ceiling. Fastening to concrete or brick foundations is done with the help of dowels, and in case of wooden foundations, self-tapping screws. The pitch of the mounted frame siding should be not more than 1,000 millimeters, but not less than 3 mounts per one siding. The siding adjoining the walls are fixed in the same way. Studs are fixed to the base wall by means of direct suspensions, which are fastened through a sealing tape with dowels to weaken sound bridges. The installation pitch of the suspension is not more than 1.5 meters. The upper and lower edge suspensions are mounted at a distance of not more than 150 millimeters from the floor and ceiling. One stud must have at least 3 suspensions. The height of the studs must be less than the height of the room by 10 millimeters. In accordance with the marking, studs are installed leveling in the bottom channels and fastened together using a piercer or self-tapping piercing screws. Screws are removed during the trimming of gypsum woodfibre material. In the same way, studs are fixed in the suspensions. The protruding parts of the suspensions are bent or clipped away after fixing together. When mounting studs in suspensions, it is necessary to ensure that the siding is on the same plane. If the height of the room exceeds the length of the GWFB, then in places of transverse end joints, install horizontal inserts made for the stud. Inserts are recommended to be fixed together with a single level connector, which are installed on the studs in the places of installation of horizontal inserts. If necessary, soundproof material is laid in the cavity of the frame. Cladding with gypsum woodfibre boards. Sawing of the GWFB can be done by means of a manual disc electric saw or an electric fret saw. You can use an aspiration system to remove dust. The fastening of the GWFB is done on the frame from the angle in 2 mutually perpendicular directions. Fastening is made by double helical self-counterboring point screws with a diameter of 3.9 of an inch or millimeter and a length of 25 millimeters. We arrange them in pitches of not more than 250 millimeters. Screws should be located at a distance of 10 millimeters from the edge of the board. The vertical offset of the bolts on two adjacent sheets must be at least 10 millimeters apart. The heads of the screws should be sunk into the gypsum wood fiber board to a depth of about 1 millimeter. If necessary, you can make countersinks in place before installation of screws. Screws must enter the gypsum wood fiber board at a straight angle and penetrate into the siding shelf to a depth of at least 10 millimeters. Deformed or improperly installed self-tapping screws must be removed and replaced with new ones at a distance of 50 millimeters from the previous one. When fixing gypsum wood fiber boards, it is necessary to leave a 5 millimeter gap between the edge of the sheet and the ceiling, and a 10 millimeter gap between the edge of the sheet and the floor. GWFB joints with a folding edge are made without gaps and with a straight edge with a gap of 5 to 7 millimeters. Filling up the joints. The seams between gypsum wood fiber boards are sealed with a dry putty mix on a gypsum binder produced by the Peschelin gypsum plant. Before filling all joints, the boards are treated with a primer. The joints of the board with a folded edge are filled using self-adhesive mashed tape, which is pasted on the folded edge of boards, followed by filling the seam with putty and evening the surface of the seam. Once the first layer is dried out, put the final leveling layer of putty. If necessary, a third leveling layer of finishing putty is also applied. Straight seams and boards with straight edges are filled without tape. Installation points of fasteners must also be filled. After the putty is dried, the joints and installation points of the self-tapping screws are removed using a grinding device. The surface cladded by gypsum boards that are produced by the Peschelin Gypsum Factory is ready for any finishing, painting, and pasting with decorative elements or wallpaper.